One of the things we have to do is we have a lot of people who are professionals in town who volunteer their time on a commission or a committee. When I mentioned earlier about empowering the Environmental Commission to be a part of the budget process to make sure that the money is there to implement the program, and I talked about listening to the recommendations, that's exactly what I'm referring to. With this particular one, the Parks and Recreation Committee and the Environmental Commission, Parks and Recreation, I will mention that I'm the council liaison to. A lot of good work has been put in by Dr. Renee Baskerville, who's actually sitting on as an independent candidate over there. And specifically, as it mentions the Nishawane Park Give Back, we all believe that the building of the Nishawane storage shed was actually in violation or in opposition to the township's own master plan. We fought that battle, we waged a war with Joe Hartman and lost. Unfortunately, the remaining council members of the administration did not appear to side with us, and that all green space, all open space should be preserved at all costs. We have that same issue with the Wildwood track. Our group, the Parks and Recreation groups, including Renee Baskerville, William Scott, and there are probably some others in the audience that I haven't seen. We actually walk through the park. We know its value, we know its significance, and we want to preserve it as an open and green space. That is not up for question for some of us who have been working hard and long on these issues within the Montclair community. Thank you.
There's no doubt that volunteers and our skilled citizenry brings a lot to this community. We would not have land use boards that function so well. We wouldn't have a lot of things we have because of the time and effort that you all put into it. This is an example today. But it's very important that we all understand our roles. We are elected officials. We have certain responsibilities that you give us as you elect us. Committees are advisory, and they bring an expertise in their area that is very valuable to us, but they don't have the ultimate responsibility to the taxpayer. So we have to work together. Early on in a new administration, I would make sure we all got together. Initially the council and the staff and a consultant most probably to guide us through it, to determine and understand exactly what our roles are and to set a strategic plan for the future. We need to involve our committees in that as well as we go forward. The committees and commissions and boards that have been most functional are those who have a strong staff liaison and a strong council liaison. I sat very shortly as liaison to the Environmental Commission. I attended, I came prepared, they were very glad to have me, but I also was honest. I shared my concerns, I shared our constraints, and we were able to work together, communicate with the council, and get things done.
Basically, what we need to do, regardless of who is elected in the next 4 years, is to get a better understanding of what the different committees can do, how they can be more effective, and the council has to do a better job of actually going to the committees and saying, here's where we need your help, here's where we need you to look at, here's where we want your suggestions, because otherwise we get a not on my block. We've had proposals from Parks and Recreation opposed to having parking any place near any of the parks near their homes because they didn't want any traffic, thereby making the parks inaccessible to the rest of the community. So we do have a problem, and I think that this is where the council has to get together and make it clear where they need help, where they want suggestions.
10 seconds.
Because otherwise, each of us just pushes our pet view, and we don't have something that's really useful to the town council from the budget committees.
The Township of Montclair, we value the input of all of our commissions and committees, and we thank them all for the work that they put in. But as Joyce Michelson said, there comes a time when the council is the policy-making board and the staff does the staff work. Oftentimes, and I'm not saying that this happens with all committees, but oftentimes there are some committees and commissions that want to cross over into the area of doing some of the staff work. And that is where we tend to get into communication difficulties. Now, as it relates to Nishawane Park, I want to tell you Nishawane Park has had more money put in it than any other park in the township of Montclair. New tennis courts, upgrades to the swimming pools, and absolutely everything. The DEP was there because of the radon removal. When the DEP left, it was put in the capable hands of the township manager and the Friends of Michigan Park. Out of that came a park or a storage shed, and the rest of the area was planted. And this is an occasion of a group and a commission getting together with the staff to get a job done that may have had some communications difficulties. Thank you very much.
I'm a little bit different than Councilwoman Joyce Michelson and Sandra Lang in that I think that nothing is more off-putting for community volunteers than to have people spend hours and hours of volunteer time, also in conjunction with various groups. In the example of the Park and Recreation Commission, I know we sat and talked to the Department of Agriculture, the Sierra Club, and many of the same groups that the elected officials would go to, and have absolutely nothing in terms of a voice that is taken seriously. For community people to take their time and do that and to establish a relationship with people and have absolutely no support continue is that if we are going to have commissions, I think that they should be afforded one vote. So if the elected officials represent 7, the commission should represent the 8th vote. And that way, as a team, we're only a township, and only by a handful of votes are we sitting on this side of the table. We can collectively work together and solicit more input. Thank you.
As you probably know, in our council manager form of government, the 7 elected officials, the 7 elected members of the town council represent the public, and they're responsible for all the policy decisions. The town manager is responsible, he's an employee hired by the council for implementing the policy decision. The public gets its input through these commissions and advisory groups. It's not a matter of interested parties weighing in. This is the public's opportunity to speak through the commissions and directly to the councilors and having their views heard at town council meetings. The 2 other slates are headed by deputy mayor and a sitting councilman. And in creating environmental policies over the last 4 years, they've had the responsibility to listen to the public and weigh the recommendations of the Environmental Commission and the Parks and Rec Committee. 2 things have happened. I think they've done a poor job of listening to the public as they weigh in at council meetings and through the advisory groups. And the second thing, the council has not passed, and the town administration has not implemented many of the well-thought-out recommendations of these citizen groups, which is democracy in action. So as mayor, I intend to try and repair the broken channels of communication between the public and the council, and to lead a council which is very clear and direct in its communication with the township manager, making it very clear that if he is, to the extent that he's, if the policies are clear on paper, it's his job to implement it. If he's done that, he's done his job. If he hasn't done it, he's being negligent doing his job, and the council should take the appropriate action. And that's what should have been going on for the last 4 years, and one of the reasons why we're having this forum here today.